Begin with breaking news. We're watching the stocks of Comcast, Time Warner, and Charter. Just 1 month after Comcast failed to buy Time Warner Cable, another cable provider is going shopping but finds no discount. So it's Charter Communications, the number 3 biggest one in America. It's buying Time Warner Cable, or wants to, hasn't been approved, but it wants to, for $55 billion. That's actually $10 billion more than Comcast's bid for Time Warner Cable. Now, major backlash by smaller operators, along with regulatory concerns from the FCC, killed the Comcast-Time Warner Cable deal. But what might be different this time around? How do the little guys in cable feel about this hookup? A lot of these are mom-and-pop organizations. They're not publicly traded, but they have a loud voice. Steve Weed is one of them. He is Wave Broadband CEO out on the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, California. You've seen your company through 17 mergers. You've got 415,000 subscribers, Steve, compared to a Charter Time Warner Cable's hookup, which would be about 23 million. Does this merger worry you?
Well, no, actually. I think it's hopefully good for the consumers of both Charter and Time Warner. And there's significant cost synergies for them on the programming cost side. I think this deal's likely going to go through.
A lot of the smaller operators like yourself absolutely despise the idea of Comcast hooking up with Time Warner Cable. I don't think Comcast helped itself with a lot of the problems that suddenly sprouted up at NBC, which it owns. But putting that aside, why doesn't this one worry you? It really wouldn't have that, so many fewer subscribers than the Time Warner Comcast deal would have had.
Well, both Charter and Time Warner are pure cable operators. They don't control content like Comcast did. The primary concern for the smaller operators was Comcast not only having enormous scale in the broadband business, but also having control over content. That's not the case here, and also their size is going to be, significantly less than Comcast would have been. So I think the combination of not having control of content and really only controlling about a third of the broadband customers post-merger, make it less worrisome.
Let me explain to our viewers why controlling content can matter. When Comcast bought NBC, they took on a lot of cable networks. They already owned a few like E! and some of the others. And they took on some, including CNBC, a competitor to us, a competitor to Bloomberg, and Bloomberg felt that it really got into trouble, Steve. So I'm just thinking, what if Charter and Time Warner Cable, we could show Steve now, because I'm more interested, there you go. What if Charter and Time Warner Cable said, yeah, we don't control content, and then they wake up one day and they want to buy some cable channels?
Well, I think the FCC would review that merger when they chose to do that, and there'd probably be restrictions on them if they chose to do that. But, the other significant issue here is Time Warner and Charter combined with Bright House will be big enough to demand significant programming cost decreases. And sometimes those decreases for the big guys result in higher costs for some of the smaller guys. And so that is still a concern, but we've been transitioning away from the cable TV content business.
Smart.
Anyway, and we make money on our broadband connections. And our company, Wave, we don't really make any money on the content business anymore. We're further along on that transition to the broadband network. So I think it is still somewhat of an issue in the consolidation around content cost and driving, higher cost on the independent guys. But
sure,
most of us are focused on letting our customers get content streaming over the internet and buying that and giving consumer choice from those who have better cost structures.
Well, here you have it, folks. A guy who runs a smaller cable outfit, Wave Broadband, and you're not threatened by it. We'll be watching to see what happens. Best guess, will this merger go through, Steve? Will the FCC agree to it?
I don't see what they would have not to approve it. These companies don't compete with each other.
Okay.
They don't have the scale problems that Comcast would have had, and they don't control the content.
Great to have you, and good luck with your business, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.
Steve Weed is Wave Broadband CEO.